23 minutes.
Are we live? 23 minutes. Here we are.
I think we are.
All right. What are we at? We're at episode 11 right now.
11?
Yes.
Wow.
I know. The first 4 are just audio, and then we got into the video and started doing the weird little... I'm going to do something weird right here in the middle.
I feel like a veterinarian now.
It's like we're figuring out the technology.
Yeah, we are. I think the quality is getting better. I hope.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully. We'll find out this episode.
I hope so.
Yeah. And we don't know. The last one was a lot of fun, though.
That was fun.
10. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Apocalypse. Yeah, I enjoyed that. So, yeah, now we're thinking about, I don't know, we're thinking about music. We like music.
So went to that concert last weekend with my son.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, because I remember we talked about it beforehand, the setup, yeah. And?
Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Yes.
Brilliant show.
Great
Fantastic
show.
job.
Yeah.
40th anniversary of their band.
Huh.
60 years old.
Yeah.
He was rocking it out.
Yeah, he was still doing it.
Rocking it out.
Yeah. Putting on a show.
They even closed out on their encore. The energy was so good. They closed with their encore. And he's like, how about one more?
Yeah.
How about the most requested song of all time? And they sang Freebird.
Freebird? Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
And we talked about a couple episodes before our sort of first teenage concert experiences.
Right.
So here's your son.
Right.
How was his reaction to this band?
He liked it. He was afraid he was going to be bored, but
Yeah.
he liked it.
Nice.
He had a great time.
Yeah. It's a raw energy.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about live music.
It is.
And,
Yeah.
and I love the venue because they were right there.
Which venue?
The pageant.
Pageant, yeah. Yeah.
And they were right there.
St. Louis. Del Mar Loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun one. I'm actually, I've seen some really memorable concerts there.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite was, I got to see the Les Claypool Delirium. Oh man, I can't remember the full name, but it was a combination of Les Claypool from Primus, and I'm a big Primus fan. You know, my name was Mud. He's the bassist.
I like him as a person too. He's a cool person.
So cool,
cool
you know, and he has this just heavy sort of bass energy.
Mm-hmm.
But he got together with Sean Lennon, who's the Yoko Ono and John Lennon's son, who I would say is psychedelic and weird, but he has a more like kind of feminine energy to him.
Yeah.
So the Delirium has this, I don't know, it has this beautiful balance to it. And I don't know, it was just amazing to see him sing and do his guitar work. And I mean, most people don't know that Sean Lennon's, he does a lot of producing. He owns a building in New York where he lives on it, in like one floor, and there's a whole studio on the other floor, and he has this amazing band called the Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger that he has with his girlfriend. That's a really weird psychedelic band. But yes, to see them live and Les Claypool just, that bass is just, I'm all like just watching the bass, slap the bass.
I remember seeing him. I was sitting in the front row, Lollapalooza, Chicago.
Nice.
In Chicago.
Yeah, Primus?
Primus? Yeah, we all drew for the front row tickets because we bought like 20 tickets.
Yeah.
And we were able to get like 2 front row tickets. So we all drew. I drew Primus. And Sailing the Seas of Cheese. And he's up there with the lighting and everything. He looked like a rat just standing there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then there was Cheese behind him.
Yeah.
And I may or may not have been on, psychoactive materials at the time. And it was just like, whoa. It blew my mind.
Even in that era, Primus is weird. Primus was not grunge. It was, it's sort of psychedelic, but it was also kind of in that Frank Zappa experimental stuff. Even Tom Waits influence.
The guy's brilliant, man.
Yeah.
And he has 2 people that build all of his guitars.
Oh, the basses. Yeah. That makes sense.
And it's just, it's amazing. If you get a chance to check out Geddy Lee talking to bass players or something like that.
Okay.
This Geddy Lee interviews bass players, something like that.
Yeah.
But he's in there, and it's really, really good.
I like that.
Check the.
You check that out.
No, you check that out.
Link in the comments below.
Right.
That's what YouTubers say.
So the last concert I saw at the pageant prior to Big Head Todd was Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's a guy who doesn't age.
Miserable experience.
Really? I mean, I'm
So-
gonna hit or miss on him. Honestly,
so
he always seems so
it's-
superficial to
It's
me.
not that the show was bad. It was the climate that was bad.
Yeah.
So it was so hot in there,
Yeah.
and everybody was complaining. Everybody was sweating,
Mm.
and the people that worked there were apologizing. They said that's one of Lenny's terms when he plays a show. He has to have it at 80 degrees or something like that. It was like a.
That's weird.
So that's one of his terms to play a show.
Wow.
So everybody was roasting,
Ugh.
roasting.
Oh no.
And so, and it was like a winter concert. So people
Yeah.
had coats. So everybody's like got all their coats off.
Shedding
Everybody's
layers.
sweating and shedding layers.
Wow.
And you know, he's up there with his shirt off, just rocking out and
Yeah,
sweating.
of
You know?
course, of course.
But, so I love Lenny Kravitz. I was so excited about the concert.
Yeah.
The great show was just, it was so put off by the temperature
No,
and the sweat. Everybody was just miserable. We wound up leaving early. Lots of people left early. They just couldn't take it anymore.
yeah.
You don't want to go see a concert in your winter clothes in a sauna.
But touring's different though. I don't know. I mean, I get the demands. Did you ever see Frank Sinatra's list of things he required?
Oh yeah.
It was like tea and all these different specific stuff. It was like if you're
And you
high powered enough, you get what you want. You know.
The Van Halen Eminem thing is true. That's
Yeah.
true.
What's that? I don't know that story.
No, they had to pick out what was it? No green M&Ms or all green M&Ms.
Green M&Ms. Okay.
Something like that. Can't remember what it was, but you can look it up out there and let us know. But yeah, I heard the M&M thing was true.
Wow.
But
the green M&Ms.
but I got to tour. Maybe it was
Ones that
brown.
make you horny.
Maybe it was brown M&Ms. I don't know. But I did get.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
I did get to tour Red Rocks when I was out in Denver.
Oh,
one
that's
time.
beautiful. Yeah.
And the person that kind of gave us the little tour was talking about all the demands like that.
Mm.
You know, and he said that there have been some really weird ones.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. One was one of the divas. You know,
Mhm.
back one of the early 2000s divas. I can't
Yeah.
remember which one, so I'm not even going to try to
Let's
name it.
let's not call anybody out.
But no one who was employed there, no one who worked there,
Yeah.
was allowed to look her in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was weird because when she would ask for something, you'd have to like give it to.
Yeah.
You were not allowed to look her in the eyes.
I mean,
That was
that's
a stipulation.
That's a weird part of fame. I mean, you think about like Michael Jackson having to be in disguise to go anywhere. The Beatles, apparently, during their tours, they couldn't leave the hotel room, so they just spent like their whole lives were like touring in hotel room, touring in hotel
you can't
room.
Go anywhere.
You know, and it's like it's a crazy way to live. I mean, no wonder Willie Nelson smokes so much weed if he's in the tour bus all the time.
He's still going.
And he's still
And
going.
he's still going.
He says he loves being on the road, though. He loves
Keeps him
it.
young.
You know.
You know, that's one of the secrets to life. Do
I
what
guess
you
so.
love.
You
Do what
gotta
you
do
love.
it.
You never work a day in your life.
Oh, wouldn't we all be so lucky? One day, maybe. I don't know. Or the apocalypse happens and then we're on the
could
road.
force it.
Yeah,
So we're just wanderers looking for
Yeah.
food, going wherever the road takes us.
Just go wherever the road. Yeah, I don't know. Like kung fu, right? Just wander the world.
Hippie gypsies.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is that a Who song? Hippie gypsies.
Hippie gypsies.
Hippie gypsies. Yeah.
All right, I like that. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with hippie gypsies. It
Hippie.
sounds fun, man.
I love. Yeah.
It sounds fun. Get on a bus, paint some sunflowers, and
I don't know. My mind's still on the music because I was thinking like, what would be an
Well, my mind's
equivalent of
still-
music? And I was thinking, well, new Riders of the Purple Sage had a sort of gypsy cowboy vibe to their music, but
all the psychedelic 60s stuff did.
yeah, they
That was
were.
all the hippie gypsy stuff.
Yeah, I had one recently. You ever heard of a Wook?
No.
This is going to be a YouTube clip. A Wook in festival culture is this sort of, I don't know, dirty type hippie that, you know, only just goes from festival to festival. They're just constantly in the festival circuit. They never seem to have money, but they also seem to always get into the concert, and and they're always bumming drugs, and the whole point is they'll take any drug you want, and they'll just whatever, they'll pop it. A Wook is like a sort of a bad hippie, I guess, but yeah, it's WOOK. And so when I went into the history of this, because it's a music festival thing, you know, and they follow the Grateful Dead and they follow all of it. Came out of the 90s, and they claim the origin is a Wookiee, like from Star Wars, like Chewbacca,
Chewbacca?
like because he's hairy and stinky. But really, that was just I don't know. I feel like that's out of context, and it's also it feels like an older term.
Yeah.
So I came across this movie called Rude Awakenings. Okay, Cheech Marin, Eric Roberts. They play hippies in the '60s who basically have to escape into like some crazy faraway hippie land, and they just disappear because they don't want to get arrested. And then they come back like back in the 80s. So this is set in the 80s. But the character's name is Fred Wook. And he's this sort of like Wook type character. This like uber hippie with all these ideologies and kind of living on the free and living on the lam. And I'm thinking to myself, that makes more sense as you know, like he's kind of like, oh, you're like a Fred Wook. They even call him Mr. Wook in the movie several times. And like all the kids feel like inspired. The 80s kids are inspired by this hippie that's, you know, still living his ideology and never sold out to the man. Played ironically by Eric Roberts.
That's funny.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a great movie,
He's
but
acting. He's
yeah.
Acting. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's the very first cassette tape you bought with your own money?
Cassette tape. Man. God, I remember going to Kmart. They used to have a whole section that was just the music section at Kmart, and it was like in the front. And you used to have these like little bins where it was like cassettes were like $1. You know, and I don't know, I think one of my favorite like early purchases was 9 Inch Nails, that first Pretty Hate Machine. Like, I don't know, cassette. On cassette. I love the 90s on cassette. Like, I literally was listening to Pearl Jam 10 on cassette yesterday. You know, like every once in a while you gotta dip back in, you know?
See, I bought cassettes and my girlfriend had CDs, but I had 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
No, it was a CD package. I've seen 9 Inch Nails in cassette though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. That it feels like it's that recent, but 9 Inch Nails is that old too.
Astoundingly, yeah. And he looks the same. He looks. Trent Reznor looks the same.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah. And still putting music out.
Yeah.
He's
got
been
an
busy.
Academy Award.
Well, he's been doing like soundtracks and stuff. I mean, that seems to be
got
the
an
smart
Oscar
business.
In his house. He's got an Oscar in his house.
It's so weird.
I know.
Yeah. Because he was so rebellious. Like, Trent Reznor, you know, Nothing Records. It was like Marilyn Manson was on it.
And it was
like,
electronica. He turned
He was electronica.
dark. He was electronica and he turned it dark.
It was
crafty.
It was very dark. I mean, like, it was like, if you didn't think the first album was dark, then when you get to, like, Hurt and Pigs and, like, all these, like, more intense songs and the, you know, Downward Spiral, like, those albums were very dark. I mean, that was... it was almost borderline goth at that point. Right. You know, it really was. I mean, it was industrial, but it wasn't like... Did you ever listen to Ministry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ministry, yeah. It's still amazing. And then, you know, we talked about Lords of Acid last time.
Yeah.
One of the previous episodes. No, I recently went through because I love tapes and, you know, cassette tapes. And I dumpster dived a pretty big collection of tapes that were just really great stuff. I mean, just classic 80s and metal and, like, Clash was in there and, like, a bunch of Rolling Stones records. I mean, cassette tapes. And I love the Rolling Stones. So, yeah. And I don't know, I love these tapes. These just are great. But tape decks. Like, I didn't have a tape deck. My last tape deck broke. Like, I bought it off Amazon, and it was garbage.
Did you have one in your car?
No, my car doesn't have one. Not anymore. You know, I mean, so I can't listen to them now. Like, literally, it's a medium sitting in my house that I didn't have a tape player for.
You don't have a device to play it with.
So I was kind of like, but I didn't want to invest money in it, like, you know, taxes and all that kind of good stuff's going on. You know, I'm poor, you know, so I'm like, I don't have the money for it. And then I go to a thrift store, and there's this wonderful little boom box, and I had with the cassette tape, and it was clean, and I ran and grabbed the tape and tested it out, and I was like, yes!
Did you get some roller skates, too? Oh, man.
Rollerblade.
No, roller skates.
No, roller...
remember the boom boxes and the roller?
I know, but I was a rollerblader.
You could do the whole thing.
Nah,
I hear
that was 80s. That was 80s.
Challenging you.
No.
Go to a thrift store. Find a boombox, pop in a cassette, strap on some roller skates, and roller boogie through that.
That's 90s kids. We were a little too dark for the roller ring.
That'd be hilarious.
I do love the roller rink.
That would make a good YouTube video.
Yeah.
Content.
No, yeah. Get throwing out big ideas here.
Yeah.
Big ideas. Yeah, so cassettes.
My first one that I purchased
Yeah,
with my own money, I was 14, and I walked to Grandpa's. It was Grandpa Pigeons.
Okay.
So it was more thrifty than a Kmart.
Got it.
It was a little like an Ollie's.
All right.
You're familiar with
Ollie's, yeah.
It was
Wholesale
like it was
stuff.
like Ollie's.
Yeah.
But they had more consistent stuff. You
Okay.
know? It was like an Ollie's, but more like a department store.
Right on.
But I went up there and went to their, album and cassette tape set, and I bought Prince Purple Rain.
Ooh, Prince. Nice.
Purple Rain.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I walked home and I popped it in and I was just like, wow, I wore that tape out. I listened to that thing.
You had to walk home.
I want to say cover to cover, but I listened to that thing over and over and over and over.
I always think like we either popped it in the car immediately, or or have a cassette tape. Your little Walkman, clicking it. Here we go. Yeah, no, I love that experience. Yeah.
So that was my first acquisition. My first tape that I purchased
was Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's powerful memories.
The first tape I was given
Yeah.
was The Beat. And that album...
The English Beat?
No, just The Beat. And it was the compilation. It had Flock of Seagulls, The Go-Go's, Haircut 100.
Got it. Like a very 80s
it was all the new wave 80s artists.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the Go-Go's were on there too. We got The Beat. That's what it was titled after, the Go-Go's The Beat, because that was popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Haircut 100.
Lovely.
All kinds of great emerging new wave bands.
I love those compilations. Those are like the '60s compilations on tape were always great too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about like one of my I'm a big Chris Isaak fan.
Okay.
Hit that song "Wicked Game" had come out, and Heart Shaped Box. That album to me, I bought that album. I want to say almost full price when it came out, and I remember I had the day off.
You weren't thrifting that puppy.
I wasn't thrifting that puppy, and so I remember buying the tape and then I was going on an adventure, so I popped it in and drove across the Tampa Causeway to St. Petersburg, and that album, it was like the first time I'd heard that album, and I just like instantly fell in love. It was like I just played it over and over and over again. Like even now I can the whole thing by heart, and I went over to the Salvador Dali Museum, which was in St. Petersburg, and met a girl and got invited to a costume party, and it was all this music, listening to that album now always transports me to that sort of driving with the big old car across the causeway and having these epic adventures, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful thing music can do, is transport you to these, new memories.
What's that?
So, here's a question then. What's your top feel-good album? That's sort of like my Chris Isaak. It's that album you can just always go back to, the whole thing, Just
that makes you feel good?
Just transports you to just one of those beautiful places that music can take you to.
That's where mixtapes come in for me.
Mixtapes?
I like mixtapes, man.
Yeah. So a variety of artists.
Because I was going to say, the first 4 songs on Joshua Tree, but not the rest of it.
Not the rest of it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Whole albums that I love to listen to through The Clash, Combat Rock.
Yeah.
First song to last song.
Rock-a-duck-us-ba.
Another one, Reel to Reel, Cat Stevens' Greatest Hits. Another one.
The Cat Stevens. That's a good point. It's kind of like with the Jimi Hendrix.
Mother's Milk. Red Hot Chili Peppers' Mother's Milk. I could listen to the whole thing.
That's a good one.
Whole thing.
But when I remember coming up, like with Jimi Hendrix, for instance, it was never the full album. So you never had Electric Ladyland. It was that was vinyl collecting. Right. The cassettes were always like the best of, the ultimate Jimi Hendrix mix, or that was the one I had. It was gold covered, ultimate, and it had a certain combination of songs. Yeah, I don't know, the best of.
But there's only so many albums that I enjoy song to song. First song to last song, everything in between.
Yeah.
There's only a handful. Those are the hard ones
best
to think of.
I like that idea. All right, so here we are. We're getting to the end now. and it's the end of the 11th episode. What I don't know. Throw out
Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Throw out an amazing album you'd want to recommend to people. Something like just
Pink Floyd The Wall.
Pink Floyd The Wall.
If you haven't heard it, listen to it. Because it's getting so old that the youngsters haven't really heard it.
That's true. Things kind of recycle a little bit.
Yeah.
Something that kind of blows your mind.
It's something that kind of blows your mind. It tells a story. It has a feel. It has a very specific feel and emotion and story. And it transports you to a different realm.
It does, yeah.
It really does.
That's a fantastic album. I don't know, like, and I don't know. I'm thinking about in like the '90s, like, for me, like Sunny Day Real Estate. It's a band that got wrapped up into like the early emo, and then what emo became, and they were not emo. They were kind of like their own weird, unique thing, and their albums, especially Diary, that whole, it's beautiful. And there's a lot of bands, I guess. Neutral Milk Hotel also has the sort of concept album from the 90s that was just, it told a story. And it's a modern version of that Pink Floyd, where it's like every song is its own classic weird part of this whole concept album about, well, yeah, about some weird stuff, let's put it that way. Jeff Magnum from Neutral Milk Hotel was a very strange dude. So those are my two recommendations: Sunny Day Real Estate and Neutral Milk Hotel, for something a little more modern, psychedelic, but still throws back a little bit.
Cool.
Pink Floyd The Wall, huh? Yeah.
It just transports you to it. It's got its own feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Its own feel.
I love it. Music.
Musica.
We love the music.
Yes, we do.
And on that note, I do want to mention that throughout the podcasts, we have had a wonderful couple of tracks that you have created yourself, and that you are our musical guest. And I don't know, I love the tracks that you drop down. I want to throw credit because they're really amazing. We've got a new one for the sort of 2025. So maybe I might play that a little bit more of that to trail it out. What was the names of the tracks? It was Cosmic Cowboy was the first one. And what was the name of the second one?
This one is Truck Commercial.
Truck Commercial. All right.
When I close my eyes, I see the truck driving down the mountain in a commercial.
It's so great.
If you own a truck company, please give me a call.
And
let's talk.
And it has a hell of a hook too. I love it. All right. So this has been 23 minutes.